Hi, it's the Belly here from NellieBellie.com, and today we're talking about plugins and how to install them on your WordPress site. A couple things before we get into the nitty-gritty of how you install things. Plugins are really useful. They can do a lot of different things for your site, make a really customized functionality and design, but make sure that when you're installing plugins, you know which ones you're using and that they're good plugins. So if you're not really familiar with plugins that are really useful and have good ratings, talk to some friends, talk to some other bloggers, ask some questions online, and just make sure that what you're installing is actually going to be good and useful for you and your site, and that you will understand how to work it. It does no good to install a really amazing plugin if you're not going to be able to make it function yourself. So sometimes things that are a little simpler and maybe not quite considered quite as awesome can be better plugins for you if you're not really very skilled at using them. So just be aware of what you're installing before you go and do that, and you shouldn't have too many problems with the whole installation process. So when we're doing installations, we just go to our dashboard and scroll down to the plugins tab and choose that option. And this brings us to the page with all of the plugins that are currently installed. Some of these will be activated, so these first two are activated. These first three are activated. This Genesis eNews Extended right now, we don't have it activated. It's installed, but it's not activated. So there's two different things. Installing a plugin means that it's sitting on your website, it's sitting there, but no one else can see it unless you activate it. Once you activate it, it starts to actually be something that is working on your site and people can see, and it interacts with different things. So there's kind of two different steps. There's the step of installing things and there's this step of activating things. You'll see that we have a lot of plugins, 32 of them, but these are all over the course of 3 years. We put this together, and we at NellieBellie, we're web designers, so we know which plugins work well. We know how to find the little glitches. We know a lot more about plugins than the average person. So we have more plugins on our site than we would recommend for the average person because we really understand how they work. But if you don't really understand how they work, we would recommend that you have fewer if you can get away with it. When you are choosing which plugins to use, you will see that right next to the plugins word, there's the add new option, and we're going to click the add new option. And it will take you to a page where you can search for the plugins that you're wanting. Now, if you go in and you haven't done your research and you just know, okay, I want an SEO plugin because I need to be able to SEO my site for Google, and you go in and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to search for an SEO plugin, you're going to get a whole ton of options. But the problem will be that you might not get the right options. So here you have a ton of different options and you have multiple pages of options. But the one that is actually the one we would recommend for most people is down here kind of in the middle. And it's not necessarily one of the first ones that you see. So that's a problem. So once again, make sure that you know which plugin you are looking for so you can type that into the search box and find it right away. So today what we're looking for is a plugin called Fancier Author Box. Because this will show up a little bit of an author bio at the bottom of our post, and that's something that we think is very useful because there's two of us. So once we find Fancier Author Box in the options for installation, I'm going to choose Install Now, and I'm going to click OK. I'm sure I want to install that option. And it'll give two options. It will give you the option to either activate the plugin or return to plugin installer. Usually what you want to do is you want to automatically activate the plugin. There's a couple of cases where you might just want to have the plugin on your site for later, that you might want to activate it eventually, but usually you want to activate it right away. So you choose Activate Plugin, and you're done. Now the Fancier Author Box would be at the bottom of our post. It would just be sitting there. It'd have a little bit of a bio, and it would be doing exactly what we want it to. Now, say you've installed the plugin and you gave it a day and it actually isn't functioning the way it's supposed to, or you just don't like it. You don't like the way it looks. You thought it would do one thing, it does something different, and you want to uninstall it. You can go down to where it is. This is Fancier Author Box, and you can choose to deactivate it. So I'm going to deactivate this because I've decided, you know what, actually, this doesn't work as well as I thought. It looks strange. We have comments in this author box, and we have all these different things, and that's just too much. We need to get rid of something, and that's what's got to go. So I deactivated it. Now, you'll see that it's still here, sitting in the Plugins tab, but it's not activated, which means it's not showing up on the site, but it's still in the site. It's still taking up memory. It's still there. I don't want that. I don't want a plugin that's sitting there doing nothing but taking up memory. So I'm going to choose to delete it. And it's going to make sure that that's actually what I want to do. So I tell it, yes, delete these files and data. And then it's done. It has been deleted. And if I say, oh man, that was a mistake, I didn't want to delete that, I really want that plugin, all I have to do is the same thing I just did. I go add new, I search for Fancier Author Box, I choose install. It's that simple. So you can install them, you can uninstall them, you can activate, you can deactivate, and it's not a big deal. It's very simple to go back in and fix it. So that's how you install plugins, and hopefully that's helpful to you and you feel a little more confident doing it.